This week on Uncut Gems with Slim.
The community around you is often a reflection of you. If you take a look at the people around you, if they don't reflect like characteristics and values that are a reflection of your characteristics and values, then 9 times out of 10, over time, either you gonna start looking like them or they gonna start looking like you. What's up, y'all? We are nearing the finish line for this season. I can't believe it's gone by so quickly. Literally, next week is the season finale. So make sure if you haven't caught up on all the past episodes, we've been doing a lot of internal work. So today, I'm gonna actually switch gears a little bit, and we're still gonna do some internal work, but today is regarding the company you keep. We're talking about the importance of community and the impact that it has on your life. And when I think of community, Genesis 2 verse 18, the ESV version says, "Then the Lord God said, I see that it is not good for man to be alone." It goes on to say, "I will make a companion he needs, one just right for him." And although the full verse is referring to him creating Eve for Adam and creating like a helpmate for him, I park at the first part of that verse because it bluntly states like we are not supposed to do life alone. And so community is a way that we can do life with each other. And I want to talk about 3 main communities that I feel like really have the ability to impact your life. 3 main communities that I believe has a lot of impact and influence over your life is community based on proximity, the community you choose to be a part of, and your digital community. First up is community based on proximity. I kind of give it 2 tiers. So the first tier is going to be your family. So you don't get to choose who you blood related to, right? Like that was ordained. God's the only person who orchestrated your lineage, basically. So you don't get to choose your blood relatives. So that's community that's like based on proximity, like they're close to you, your birth from your mother. When thinking about family can impact your life in so many different ways, whether that's your health history, whether that's family trauma, whether it's legacies, you name it. Like undoubtedly your family impacts your life, whether it be good or bad. And when I think about family, of course your family dynamics are going to vary across the board. And it wasn't until I got older that I really realized, and we'll kind of tap into this next week, that I realized that, everybody ain't raised the same. Like, I know common sense would be like, everybody different, right? But I feel like I was raised very well. I grew up in a 2-parent household, like all the things is giving. And I'm grateful that I had that experience and that opportunity. But as I grew older, I had to realize like, everybody ain't raised like you. And I know it sounds like common sense, but a lot of times, especially when you grew up like just thinking like this is the norm, when you get older and you get to meet new people and hear new people's stories, like you really get to understand that like everyone has a different journey, and everyone's family dynamics are different. And again, like I said, your blood relatives are people that you're not able to choose. Like God hand selected you to be birthed by your mother, to have your daddy's genes. Like God hand selected you to be in the lineage that you're in. And no matter what the dynamic is, there's purpose in why he selected you to be a part of that family, and there's intention behind his placement. And I know you might be like, well, girl, that sounds cute and all, but my daddy ain't been in my life. Or, I actually have a lot of trauma connected to my parents, or my parents were never there, or, whatever your story is, whether it be good or whether it be not so good, like there is intention behind who you were placed to be the child of, or to be the nephew or niece of. There's intention behind it. And a good example of this, I've been binge watching This Is Us. And for the longest, I don't know why I thought it was reality TV, and my mom would always talk about it, and I never checked it out. But I finally checked it out and started binge watching it. And y'all, This Is Us is such a great example of the impact and the intent behind the family that God has chosen you to be a part of, right? And so I don't know if you've watched it or if you haven't. I'm gonna just give a little insight without, spilling too much tea. But there's a character on there. His name is Randall. He's a black guy, and he was basically born from two black parents, and his story that he always would say is that he was abandoned at a fire station, and then his parents adopted him, was a white couple. And so all throughout life he would try and figure out, like, who is my family, and why is this my story, basically. And as the story unfolds, I think it does a really good job of writing and depicting like how your family impacts your life, whether it be, in his case, his adoptive parents, whether it's his father, whether it's his mother that weren't in the picture as he grew up. I think it gives a great example of how, whether they're in your life or whether they're not in your life, or whatever the dynamic is, ultimately it impacts you in some way, shape, or form. And you might be like, well, girl, like, yeah, my daddy ain't in my life, but I'm good, I'm set, my mama was the mama and the daddy. And that may be the case, but there is still room to understand more about your lineage. I feel like it's undeniable to say that your family has zero impact on your life. And so me bringing up family and family dynamics, like, I'm not here to therapize you this morning, but I just wanted to bring light and shed light on the importance of family and the impact that family has on your life. Take that acknowledgement and understand how it relates to your life. So whether that means mending bridges or going to therapy to analyze the impact of the absence of family, like whatever it may be, like your family impacts your life. So I want you to kind of cultivate those relationships in that community that you have, so you could just grow even more in life. And then the second tier of community based on proximity, and I kind of give it two tiers because family is completely different than like your coworkers and stuff. The second tier of community based on proximity is going to be coworkers, people who you commune with daily, or people who you commune with often. So it might be, book club, Bible study, church friends, like people that you have a relationship with due to literally how close you are in proximity. And so it's kind of based on your physical placement in society. A good example that makes me kind of think of the impact of this kind of community is like how you ever had like this coworker and over time they just started to get more fine. Like you be like, like he looking kind of cute today. Or like somebody that you become friends with at work that you typically in the outside world, like you probably wouldn't have become friends with them. Like that's examples of how being in close proximity as far as that community can impact your life, and sometimes subconsciously impact your life because you don't even really realize how strong these relationships develop over time from just being in proximity with one another. With that being said, it's so important to be aware of who you allow access to your life. Just because you see your coworkers more than you see your family does not qualify them to freely just be pouring into your life. You do not have to sit there and listen to Sarah Ann as she comes complaining to you about Danny not carrying his workload at the job. Like, sometimes you don't realize how small scenarios like that, if they're not properly bound, they can slowly start to impact your life. So that's why it's important to have boundaries when you're involved in community that's based on proximity, because you can easily go from overhearing gossip to sharing your opinions to being the one that's calling somebody to your desk to spill the tea. Like, it can escalate literally that quickly just by you being in close proximity with one another. And so I want you to be conscious of cultivating like a healthy community of those who you do life with just because of proximity. The next community is the community that you choose. So this is going to be like your friends, your homegirls, your homeboys, people that are in like hobby-based groups, like whether you go to the gym and you have gym partners or gym friends, or like book clubs, Bible study, like things that you choose for these people to like be in your life. My pastor, he used to say all the time, change the people you're around or change the people you're around. And it reminds me that the community around you is often a reflection of you. If you take a look at the people around you, if they don't reflect like characteristics and values that are a reflection of your characteristics and values, then 9 times out of 10, over time, either you gonna start looking like them or they gonna start looking like you. Proverbs 27:17 says, iron sharpens iron and one man sharpens another. For instance, so I've been doing content creating for 7+ years now, right? And at first it started off as a hobby. I was just doing my makeup, showing the girls, what I was wearing, all of those kind of things. And as my hobby started to transition into a profitable business, I realized that I didn't have a lot of like content creator friends, because all my friends was just like, friends from college. Nobody was really doing that at the time. And so I was kind of new to this. I'm just finding my own way, right? And I say this to say there's levels of this business that I never would have had access to if I didn't begin to start surrounding myself with people who do what I do. And that's not to say you just need to switch up on your homegirls just because they ain't doing what you're doing. No, I'm saying there's different like networks of communities that are important to have in your life. So yes, you may have your friend group. It's just like you had the one friend you go to for relationship advice, the one friend you go to when you sad, like how you kind of have different friends who pour into different areas of your life. And for me, it was very important for me to understand how impactful it would be for me to create relationships with people who do what I do. And when I think about the relationships that I've cultivated over the years with other influencers and other content creators, going back to the scripture, iron sharpens iron, iron can never sharpen iron if it's in a room full of plastic knives. So sometimes you have to take a look around you and see, like, are you surrounding yourself with iron or are you surrounding yourself with plastic? When I think of iron sharpening iron, the first thing that comes to mind is that there's two alike metals in play: iron versus iron. And for me, that would require me to build and filter the community that I choose and try to find your iron, which would be other like-minded individuals, other people who do what you do or in your field. And when you find your iron, then you're able to sharpen each other. But then on the other hand, you also have to note that when iron sharpens iron, there's a level of friction that's involved. There's a level of discomfort that's involved. There might be times where there's conflict, but it'll be healthy conflict. It'll always result in you being sharper at the end of that discomfort, at the end of that friction that you experience in those relationships. When you think about like growth, most growth processes require a level of discomfort. It requires like a breaking or a shift or something. And like when you think about a seed sprouting, like the only way that it can sprout is if the seed breaks. When you think about for my gym rats, like when you think about growing muscle, like you're literally ripping muscle apart and your body repairs it and builds more muscle. So there's always like a stretching or a breaking or again level of discomfort when it comes to growth. Baby, I'm sore right now because I've been in the gym, but because I'm sore, I know something growing. Okay. A way that you can kind of tap in and be like, okay, girl, like, is this the community that I need in this season? Is to take note when you feel like you coasting, when you feel like you on cruise control. If y'all relationship has just been flatline like this right here, like that may be a telltale that, not that you're outgrowing someone, but you may need to start incorporating more people in your community that'll help sharpen you a little bit more. And you want to make sure that you keep some iron in your circle. It makes me think about that quote that's like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And first off, if y'all are listening to this podcast, I already know that you're interested in growing in some way, shape, or form in life, because you wouldn't be on a podcast like this if you weren't interested in becoming a better version of yourself or being more like the person that God created you to be. I want to encourage you to just check the rooms that you're in. Of course, there's going to be some rooms where you're going to be the one that's pouring and helping elevate others, but you also need to be in rooms where other people are pouring into you and helping you elevate. You don't want to just be, again, like the smartest in the room. You don't always want to be the person that's giving advice and guidance. You also want to be in rooms where you have the ability to be advised and guided yourself. The last community I want to talk about is the digital community. So it's 2024, y'all. Like, one, if you listen to the podcast, baby, digital community. So I was doing a little bit of research, and the digital portal reported that the United States internet penetration rate stood at 91.8% of the total population at the start of 2023. So basically that means majority of y'all have some sort of digital community that you're engaged with, whether that be the news, whether that be social media, whether that be, I don't know, text message, email, whatever it is. Like, most of us have some sort of digital community. And I feel like there's so many things that are documented digitally, and when we consume it, it has the ability to impact our lives. So the news, for example, is a great way to get information about what's going on in the world today. And then there's also when that information turns into impact because of how often we consume it. A great example of when us influencers do ads or sponsored content, like, we have the ability to influence you to purchase a product, which is you spending your money on something because I convinced you or influenced you that this is something that you need. Like, that in itself is great impact, and it can go good or bad. Like, if you follow someone who, like, is influencing people in a negative way, like, that can have real impact. So there's a lot of pros of having access to the digital community, but then there's also a lot of cons. And I'm sure, like, your brain is going off on, you know, the pros and cons of social media, of the entertainment industry, whatever it is. Like, there's pros and there's cons to these things. And for example, like, if you fall down a rabbit hole on TikTok, y'all know how it be. Sometimes you could go down a rabbit hole on the wrong side of TikTok, and then your whole news feed, your whole For You page done change to whatever you done stumbled upon, whether that be something wild or perverted, or, you know, sometimes even true crime, baby, that can get a little depressing depending on what they putting out there. And so, like, you have to be mindful of how impactful the stuff that you consume online affects your life. It's kind of like you are what you eat. If you eat junk food, like, baby, your body's not gonna act like it ate a whole bunch of fruits and veggies. Like, it's gonna act like you ate a whole bunch of junk food. So if you consume negative content over time, your internal is going to be kind of on that negative side, or it'll reflect the stuff that you're consuming. And that kind of brings me to the challenge for this week. I want you to consciously filter what you consume digitally. For example, I have always been like a hood rat Christian, in my opinion. I love me some ratchet music. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, I thoroughly enjoy it. And one time my friend was like, girl, you should try listening to just gospel music. And I said, just gospel music? Like, I don't know, because I love my hood rap music, right? And so I tried it. I did it for like a week, I think. And what's crazy is how much my posture changed throughout the week, how more positive my days went during the week. There was a significant difference. Like, there's a big difference if you ride to work listening to gospel music and worshiping versus if you pulling in on two wheels listening to Nuck If You Buck. Like, them is two completely different vibes to start off your day. And when I tell you it changed my perspective so much, it got all the way to a point where if I would get upset or frustrated or mad, like, I used to put on like some hood music, like, yeah, all of that, knowing I ain't, baby, I'm from the suburbs, I ain't none of that. But, like, I would put on that music to kind of feed how I was feeling in that moment. And so then I started, one day I remember I was so upset. I was over it. And I'm like, I'm gonna go work out so I can get this up out of me. And so I put on that music that get me feeling tough. And I was like, this is not helping me. So I was like, let me put on some gospel, because you're supposed to come to the Lord whenever. You're supposed to come to the Lord when you're feeling good and when you're feeling bad. So I was like, let me put on some gospel music. Y'all, that workout went crazy. Like, I felt so good after that workout. And again, it's just an example of how significant what you consume digitally, your digital community, has on your life. I just want to challenge you guys to filter what you consume digitally. You are what you eat, so you want to make sure you feed yourself a good diet and consume content that'll impact you in a positive way. The same way that you be filtering stuff when it comes to kids, if you filter what you watch and listen to, like, it will make a world of a difference. I don't follow a lot of people, and the reason being is I am very intentional about the content that I consume. And of course, you got your explore pages and all of that, but what I am choosing to digitally digest is something that I take very seriously. So anytime, and something that helps me filter through my following list is anytime someone pops up on my timeline and it makes me feel some type of way, that's like strike one, like you getting close to being unfollowed. And it's not necessarily something that they have done, but it may be something that, reveals something that I'm working on. Or like, if I start comparing myself to somebody on my page, then maybe I shouldn't follow you right now. And it's not that, it's something that you did. It's just something that, hey, if I don't follow you, then I'm creating an environment that doesn't allow me to feed into that insecurity. Or if you make me feel some type of way, or we not vibing, like whatever it may be, like you have the ability to unfollow a person. Like, you don't have to keep following them just because you don't want them to feel some type of way or whatever. Like, do what you need to do to make sure you're consuming the things that you need to consume, and that you're not feeding something that you don't want to be fed, whether that be an insecurity, a fleshly desire, like whatever it may be. Like, if it don't give me positive vibes on my timeline, if it's not encouraging, if it's not like I'm vibing, we twins, like if it's not giving me positive vibes, like there's no real reason for me to be following it. What people post is out of your control, but who you follow, you're in control of that. So baby, don't be shy to unfollow, block, whatever you got to do to make sure that you consuming content that is only going to enhance your life. The thing is, if you continue to follow people that make you feel some type of way, or give you negative energy, like you're the person that's allowing them access to feed negativity into your day. So baby, hit that unfollow button and keep it moving, and keep your page positive and what have you. And that may be something that you have to refresh every now and then, because sometimes people are here for a reason or a season. And if they're here for a season and over time you're like, this is not working for me right now, or dang, I used to love following so and so, but now like I kind of feel the type of way, or whatever it may be. Like, filter who you follow. I know this episode has been a little winded, you guys, but I just can't believe we're almost at the end of this season. Next week, season finale. Make sure you guys tune in. And also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Uncut Gems with Slim. And until next week. Uncut Gems.